Part 6. All right, here we go. So I left you guys off with me getting pulled over. Now, I just picked up my brother from the courthouse. I'm not really sure what I picked him up for. I think he may have had court. No, I think it was a check-in because I picked him up and it was around 5 or 6 at night. So not really sure what that was about, but that's irrelevant. So I am driving away from the courthouse. I pull onto the street. I'm driving at the stoplight. I see a cop in the intersection on the right side of the lane. My heart started beating kind of quick because I already knew that I had a warrant, and my warrants were for traffic tickets, just little minor stuff that I should have paid off, but I was just so lazy and so stupid that thinking that, you know, I'm gonna pay it off, just weeks, and you just never pay it off. And eventually you get pulled over and you go to jail. So I'm driving and I tell my brother, he pulls behind me, and I'm like, I can almost guarantee that I'm about to get pulled over. I just always had this feeling, and lo and behold, I get pulled over. So I stop and I'm talking to my brother and I tell him, just letting you know, this is certainty that I'm gonna go to jail right now because I have unpaid traffic tickets. And in Las Vegas, if you have traffic tickets, honestly, it does not really matter what kind of traffic ticket it is. If you have a stoplight traffic ticket, if you have you ran a stop sign, it could be seriously the most minute thing, you're gonna go to jail because the cop, they gotta make their quota. So I get pulled over. He comes up to the car and he says, do you know why I pulled you over? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm really respectful with cops. I never really like backslash cops because, what's the point of doing that? So I tell him no, and then he's like, well, I pulled you over because your insurance is expired. So if your insurance is expired, then your registration is expired because you have to have your car insured in order to get it registered. So he tells me this and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, and I was not aware about the insurance because what I had perceived was the person, the co-signer had paid it because I already had gave him money up front and he had supposed to have been paid the insurance. So he walks back to the car and he goes, I just need to see your license, and all the other stuff. I'm sitting there, I actually get my phone and I'm calling the co-signer and he doesn't answer. No, actually he did answer, and I told him, hey, I got pulled over because the insurance wasn't paid. And he said, oh, blah, blah. He gave me a whole bunch of excuses, and I was like, come on, dude. I'm like, look, the car is going to be impounded. There's no possible way the car can move if the car's not insured. So, and another thing is cops love to impound your car for literally everything. And when you get your car impounded, you have to fork over a lot of money to get it out. So the cop comes back and he says, you have some warrants. I'm gonna see how serious it is. Maybe I'll let you go, which is never the case. They never let you go. And then he goes, so I'll be right back, just sit tight. And I think I called my dad and told him, yo, I'm probably gonna go to jail, so just to keep you aware of this. And he's like, okay, blah, blah, blah. If you do, just call me from the intake and, we'll talk to me. And it's not really nothing that he could do for me, you know what I mean? It was just my fault, just from pure stupidity. I'm glad I learned all my lessons, I'm glad I'm a little smarter these days. But so he finally comes back to the car and he says, yo, I'm gonna have to arrest you. I can't let you go. I've already ran your name. I would get in trouble if I let you go since I already ran your name and you have warrants. So you're gonna go to city jail and we're gonna have to impound the car. And I was like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So I might as well just take it as it comes. So I go to jail, I hit my dad up and told him, so yeah, I'm in jail, and I think I was actually only incarcerated at that time because I know I had a suspended sentence, so I think it was 60 days if I had not paid my tickets, and it was a stay out of trouble thing. Excuse me, just had a monster. But so I ended up staying off 60 days. You only do, I think it's like for every 30 days you get 10 days knocked off. So I think I only did about like 45 days, maybe even less than that. So I did get out, and my intentions were to pull the car out. And when I went to pull the car out, obviously I have to use the cosigner because it is in his name. So, I we had to fix the insurance issues and blah, 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 blah. So we tried doing that. And when I initially tried to pull the car out from the impound, it was, oh my gosh, it was so expensive. I think it was like up to $1,200 or $1,500. It probably was a little more. I'm not really certain on what the exact price was. I know it was up there. So we go there and then we have more issues because more drama. I'm not really sure what the exact problem was that they wouldn't let us pull it out, but they wouldn't let us. So I actually lost the car at the tow shop at the impound, which just sucks. So that car probably got, you know, I think it's auctioned. They auction off the cars if you don't pull them out. But yeah, so lost the 350Z, and lesson learned: don't ever, if you're going to buy a car, don't have anybody co-sign it. Do everything yourself. And even if you can't buy a nice car with and you don't have the credit to, don't buy it. You know what I mean? Just buy a car that's going to lead you to point A to point B. So eventually you can build up your credit later on and buy a car all yourself, no strings attached. And it's just helping your credit, because even, you know, me making all the payments, it's not helping my credit at all. Even if I was on time for every single payment, it's helping his credit. So I get no benefit whatsoever. I don't even technically really own the car because it was registered and insured in his name. Even though I was on the insurance as the driver, it was still registered in his name. So that why legally, if I miss the payment, he could legally take the car and I can do nothing about it. So lesson learned. That's one of the stupidest things. You know, I still to this day I think about it. I'm like, oh my God, how stupid was I? Why couldn't I just like stick to what I wanted to do at first? But that's life. You learn. You mess up, you learn. That's just life. You're always learning. So losing the car, I was carless for a while, and I was working at this job renovating foreclosure homes, because in Las Vegas, that's a huge market. Banks for foreclosure homes own the bank, or the banks own the houses. And what I did was I went to these homes with me and my partner, and we literally, you know, restored these homes up to sale value, and we were paid directly from the bank. But that's the job I was doing at that time. I remember that I had to have him pick me up from, you know, work and blah 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 blah, and it was a really big hassle. So eventually, I was dating a girl at the moment, and she moved to Orlando. You know, and you know, she was in Las Vegas and she moved to Orlando. There was just issues with just, I can't really talk about that, but there was issues with her, so she moved to Orlando, and my intentions were to come here to Florida. Yes, I moved to Florida for a female. Yes, I did. That's why I'm actually here in Florida now. But long story short, we didn't, you know, that relationship went out the window, and I've been single since then. So she moved out here, and my intentions were to move out here, but the only place that I could move was here in Fort Lauderdale. And I had a plan, and the plan was to actually, you know, work out here for a while. I know my brother-in-law was working out in Miami, so I was trying to get hooked up with him, trying to figure out if I can get any employment. I was actually applying for a bunch of places out here, and live out here because I had family out here, and you know, stay out here, make enough money to eventually travel to Orlando. So I did move out here, was working, and eventually, you know, doing long distance relationships never work out. They just never work out at all. I actually just got situated in here, Fort Lauderdale, so that didn't work out, and I've been here for a while. I started training at the Gold's Gym in Hillsborough, that's in Deerfield Beach, and I was actually natural at this time, like, or not natural because, you know, I'd used to steroids in the past, but I was working out for quite a while again, you know, and I was making pretty good gains. Got a little fluffy, but I was getting really strong, and, you know, in my head, I'm thinking, maybe I'll just jump back on a cycle. And when I say cycle, I'm talking about multiple steroids, not stacking steroids. And I eventually, you know, got my hands on some steroids again, and I started running testosterone at really low doses, and I jumped on EQ, and I jumped on Anadrol. Now, that was my first time using Anadrol, and Anadrol, dude, my strength just went out the window. That was actually the strongest I'd ever been in my life.